that Luna, but what Na'Vi can do is stack the bodies in front of it because the Loki needs line of sight to get the ultimate, and that time might be the difference between Jerky getting an elimination with Dance of the Butterflies and FlyQuest being able to stave it off.
Nice to note here too, with the portals being opened up, and you also got to see Na'Vi getting a little bit of that shield just in case it opened up these fights, but it's about taking control over the high ground to start off this fight. As you can see, FlyQuest now making that swap up. Vez over into that Magneto, one of the best roles he represents, as Energy and Vision are rocking the team up between the Namor and Hela.
Na'Vi didn't walk up though, they portaled in. Trust me, on the Venom will be able to regroup with them because they wanted to hold the high ground off of the angle for the Hela and Namor, but FlyQuest still managed to find the first pick, and BRB was not up to save level 1 Crook. FlyQuest now with the Magneto putting their position onto the point, forcing Na'Vi into a brawl tempo rather than a dive, and that's going to be first cap picked up for FlyQuest.
Just as quick as they started up this fight, now they're going to be able to take control over the fight, but it's not over. Look at the split position of Na'Vi to the side, as Na'Vi, they retaliate. They find both strategists off of FlyQuest. No sustainability here for FlyQuest, as now Vision, he gets the retaliation, but Jerky being on the sidelock gets enabled together with Rajara.
I mean, Jerky just has everything that a Psylocke could want, right? A Venom to create the space, the projection team up coming on for Rajara on the ammo, and the idle aura from level 1 Crook. We said that you had to be worried about the Psylocke, and Na'Vi have absolutely everything that the Psylocke could desire. This Dance of the Butterflies should be absorbed by the Doppelgangers, but Na'Vi have the Ensong Inferno to shut that down too.
Off the Snowflake and a BRB, you're going to be able to get a lot more aggressive as Trust Me's looking to make some space. Look at Jerky. He's creeping about before he tries to get the jump on the strategist up on the bridge. Invisible, the follow-up together with the team up that Emma Frost provides here. He's looking for the opportunity to get the Dance of Butterflies, but they need to wait for the strategist ultimate to come out. But with Cooper going down, no God of Mischief. It's up to Zelos and the Eternal Bond. As a meteor comes up, it must find itself going down onto Na'Vi. Now as they try to survive, they're holding onto these ultimates for quite some time.
Cosmic Yawn Amplifier, Horde of Proteus from Vision, but Ensong Inferno prevents any momentum picked up by that Namor ultimate, and Na'Vi are still in control of this point. Jerky with the projection manages to make it back to his ammo. Rajara shields them off with the Aegis, and FlyQuest are forced to swap. Tidal Dirge team up taken away. Energy has to go onto the Winter Soldier and look for the neutral shutdown on the dive instead.
It's the fact that Jerky, by the way, is already at 80% in ult charge after we just saw the Dance of Butterflies. Furthering your point, Moxie, about what you were mentioning about the Groot 2, as Cooper holding on to that God of Mischief after he had gone out early in that previous fight. You have to imagine now, as Cooper's looking on the back end.
It's too early! It's preemptive, which means that Na'Vi are just going to wait it out. Cooper has to come on through with the Fate of both worlds in response to Rajara's ultimate, but that means that they're not going to have the Loki ultimate to shut the Dance of the Butterflies down. It has to be an aggressive play when they've still got the Fate of both worlds up, but they haven't found the elimination. Jerky is on the field. The Loki doppelgangers too are able to absorb the damages, but that means that they have nothing for when the Feast of the Abyss comes through, and Na'Vi in overtime are clearing FlyQuest positions.
And together with the anti-heal, even with the Eternal Bomb used up, nice Terror Cape to find level 1 Crook, but with Vision going down, they are outnumbered. Currently, Trust Me, Fate, here's popping off. Overtime, taking away, forces out the recontention with the portal.
Regeneration Domain does mean that FlyQuest will be able to stabilize temporarily through that portal, but they don't have the numbers, they don't have an ultimate to follow up the bodies, and Na'Vi walk away with the Grove in firm, dominant style. Jerky on the Psylocke, we highlighted this player. We said that he was one of the stars. He was the one that they picked up, already testing him out in those scrim blocks before we got to see the pickup onto Crisis late. And his Psylocke has been absolutely insane.
It's the fact that Fate also being on the Raccoon has not gone down once. Pesky. As you can see, Jerky literally 10-1, 6 final hits for this player. But I love the duo that we are also seeing, the follow-up with Trust Me on this Venom.
The amount of follow-up, like you said, that Na'Vi have, it's like Trust Me goes in and they look for these soft dive engagements, like when they know that Cooper has the ultimate, when the fight is fresh and regeneration domain is still active, they go for the soft dive, try and force it out, back away, stabilize, come back in again with the Dance of the Butterflies as they are just generating it so quickly. That's sort of the double-edged sword, if you will, about running a Loki. More doppelgangers on the field mean more bodies for the Psylocks to be able to farm the ultimate off.
It comes in clutch, and that's why Jerky's been able to get these ultimates so quickly in a lot of these engagements now as FlyQuest. They want to try to get this point first. We know how strong it is to take control over this fight in the very beginning, as Vision does have that ultimate ready to go. Vets with the Meteor M. Smart Chief now making that swap over to the Angela to get more disruption online. But look at Trust Me and the Feast of the Abyss.
Smart Chief, like you said, on that Angela will be able to intercept some of these dive setups from Trust Me. Won't be able to intercept the Feast of the Abyss. And everyone from Na'Vi were already on the point to be able to follow up the damage and the anti-heal. And oh my goodness,
no.
They're just delaying the pick.
And this, every time you get a first fight stagger too on Dom, it is so crucial because now you get even more progress on the points. You extend your lead. FlyQuest, sure, they'll be able to come right back around. And with Vez making a swap over to the Emma, I do agree with this, right?
Yeah.
Even with the Magneto that we saw in our previous series, by the very end of that series, it wasn't really finding their mark. If you're not being able to land these Meteor M's, it's crucial in a lot of these matchups, especially when you have a Luna that you're dealing with.
Vez's presence as well, with the threat of Carbon Crush, should be enough to force Trust Me's positioning away from the Vanguard, allowing FlyQuest to start pushing their way forward, angling for that frontline brawl with both the Bucky and the Phoenix getting to play with the main core and the off angle. We still have to worry though about Jerky with the Dance of the Butterflies. Silex Ocean opens the way. Jerky gets the elimination of the Cooper. No doppelgangers, no regeneration domain, no player from FlyQuest will be able to survive the onslaught, and Na'Vi walk away. But silver lining, it's at least a fast fight, a precious percentage picked on up in comparison to what it was before.
Is it going to be worth it when FlyQuest are sweating when they try to get the counter pick to deal with Jerky on having this Emma Frost, trying to get the choke slam that they're covering and enabling Jerky with? They still have Crooks, Fate of both worlds. They still have Fate and the Sia as Spark Chief. Force it back away, but now here on the Angela still is trying to get this disruption while Zelos can start the fight with the Eternal Bond.
FlyQuest, like you said, starting off that fight likely with the Eternal Bond off of the portal, getting to close the position onto the point. Ensong Inferno is the first ultimate to try to deal with Na'Vi. Out comes that Eternal Bond, allowing FlyQuest to move on forward, but we've got Fate of both worlds from Na'Vi's end, damage boosting the Ensong Inferno, and Cooper through the ultimate falls. FlyQuest now relying on Spark Chief in overtime. The Heaven's Retribution not going to be able to pick up the stall that it looks for. Energy's onto the Doctor Strange, but Vicky, I don't think there's enough time.
The speed run after map 1 alone, a complete different outcome after we've seen these teams face off against each other. And now Na'Vi, they know what they need to do, Moxie. FlyQuest, they were not able to deal with Jerky, and again, it goes hand in hand with that pick and ban phase when Jerky gets a pop off on that Psylocke.
Na'Vi continue to be this bounce back team. They'll give you one, you get one. That's why they're known for these runs through in the lower bracket run. Speaking about one, that's the amount of casualties that Trust Me, Rajaro, and Jerky found themselves with. Fate, by the way, an entire 2 rounds of play, did not revisit that spawn room once, and that's what you want on the rocket, right? Because if the rocket's not going down, the BRB is always there in position for when Na'Vi need it to be.
And at that point, too, when you look at Cooper on the Loki, 0-7. I mean, when you protect the Loki and you're not being able to get these God of Mischiefs to get these falls to keep these fights going,
yeah.
I mean, then you're also not enabling your Vanguard. Your Vanguards are not staying alive to control that space.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw like these sort of shades of counterplay against a dive composition from FlyQuest's comp, right? We got to see the Bucky, we got to see an attempt at the Hell on Amor if they'd won the first fight and been able to actually push Na'Vi into a full reposition, retake situation. That would have... We got to see Vision moving over to things like that Phoenix trying to play for the stun, because Na'Vi, when they dive, they're stacking their players. You can get a multiple body stun, then you can follow up with either that immediate pick from Energy or the Winter Soldier looking for those hook controls, but we never really got to see that come into fruition because Na'Vi just play around it perfectly. They had so many ultimates that they could just steamroll.
And the team of two, the wombo combos of the ultimate follow-ups between Na'Vi just dipped that of FlyQuest, right? You saw the attempt on having the Strangling Prison together with the Whale. Well, guess what? Na'Vi together with Fate and the Sia, the Phoenix, Ensong, Infernal, the damage burst too, whenever you see Trust Me with the Feast of the Abyss, was just so much to deal with.
And they managed as well to pick FlyQuest for so many of those strategist ultimates too. Like, that's the reason why we were seeing so many casualties on the side of FlyQuest, because when it came to that trade of those strategist ultimates, the Luna with the Fate of both worlds for the damage amp, Fate, like you said, with the Cosmic Ion Amplifier, both being able to output a 40% push when they're active, just meant that FlyQuest never had the actual heal resources to stand up to all of the incoming damage.
It's the fact that Jerky only went down once, by the way. Had 16 final hits too.
16, 11.5 thousand damage. And I mean, Psylocke players, they're not normally, well, sometimes they are like the one with the most amount of damage. Back in 4.0, we would be expecting it to be the Phoenix because of the Beyblade tech. But when it comes on through and you have a Loki to be able to use as a pincushion, a Groot to be able to use as a pincushion, you're pushing your ultimate up. You've got the Luna to enable to go aggressive. You've got your Venom creating as much space as possible so that every single time you want to commit, you're not being marked, you're not being cleared out, you're not being forced into downtime and thus not doing any damage. It was just constant pressure from Na'Vi's end, and that's what Dive is so formidably known for, right? We've both got to see Dive as a composition for a very long time, and one of the things that it punishes is when these teams try to walk into these fights without that game plan in mind, because it interrupts, it intercepts when you're still ult tracking, when you're still trying to work out what do I need to do, where do I need to go.
And it's staggering the time for them to come out of spawn, you're staggering their ult economy. You're preventing them from leaning into these win conditions, and to be able to start the series off in our best of 5 with such a dominating fashion when FlyQuest you look at Na'Vi, they hadn't even played on Krakoa. They just come out of the gates and knew exactly what they had to do.
Yeah, for FlyQuest, it's about just reset, right?
Yeah.
It's not a best of 3. Losing domination isn't a nail in the coffin. You still have an opportunity to be able to bounce back in the series, but it needs to start right here. You can't go into the half 2 maps down, especially when the silver lining of losing one of those maps is getting to determine where we go next and which side.
Having to highlight some of the biggest plays too from that very first series. We saw a freeze come out onto the Groot. I believe it was actually level 1 Crook who had gotten that, yes, from that Luna. Canceling out the Groot ult, something else you have to look for if you're gonna expect Na'Vi to keep going forward with these strategist bans.
I mean, do you just go for the instant ban on the Psylocke? But then again, that means Mantis or Jeff is going to be able to make it through. So it's a tough one for FlyQuest because, as we talked about, Na'Vi is a team that is known for masterfully navigating through the draft. They're also a team that is known for being next to impossible to being able to fully ban out with the flexibility, with the fact that they play so many different things to such a high level, which has now become, I would say, a requirement for Marvel Rivals at this level.
I totally agree here, and we're getting set up for going into game number 2. Moxie, I mean, what do you think FlyQuest needs to do differently? You're looking at Energy, who usually is that MVP piece that needs to be enabled, right? When we take a look at the other side, we've highlighted why Jerky is so deadly, but then on the other half, the young gun legend, only 17 years old, Energy, he wasn't really able to get anything done despite the bans that we saw coming out really focusing on the strategies, but that also kind of goes hand in hand to what we were saying before. When your Loki can't stay alive and there's a Psylocke ultimate waiting for you at every choke before you even get to the point, how do you try to navigate around that?
I mean, there's always going to be a disparity, right? If you're constantly losing your strategists and your vanguards are never getting their uptime, there's no space being created for your duelists to be able to do what they want to. That's why they swapped off of the Hela Namor. Those are 2 duelists who require so much space and so many resources to be pumped into them. I think for FlyQuest to try and find a way back into this series, what you do is you try and take us to a convoy map, because that is where we're getting to see the Emma ban first and foremost. And if you remove the Emma, you limit Rajaro, but if the Psylocke does manage to slip through, you also impact Jerky's uptime by removing the team up, which would heavily impact the uptime charge of the Dance of the Butterflies, allowing FlyQuest to actually build the strategist ultimates to go against it.
And I believe it is a good idea to go to Convoy here too, right? Because if we do end up going, we have to avoid Yggdrasil, no matter what, right? Because it's Na'Vi, right? Na'Vi loves, this is basically like their playground, so they're not going to go to Yggdrasil. Maybe thinking Midtown here. We have seen them fall twice onto Midtown, but they also have been able to take at least one series there. Meanwhile, though, you look at FlyQuest, and it's kind of a checkmate because their best Convoy map is Yggdrasil, but it's not as perfect of a record as Na'Vi. So thinking here, maybe Midtown, as we've gone 1-1, for FlyQuest and getting everything settled, you have to also think about it from the player's perspective.
Yeah.
You need a mental reset.
Yes.
You just got 3-0'd in the previous series, and now it was a pretty dominating takeover for that first map.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where your coach is going to come in absolutely clutch, right? This is where you're able to say, hey, guys, it's okay, this happens. We just have to head into this next one and make sure that we play clean and we play to our own game. And we are going to see, it is indeed going to be a convoy map. It is indeed not going to be Path. We will be headed on over to Midtown. So this is one of those maps where Jeff is less impactful on first and second, but it's also one of those maps that attacking teams have started being able to work out how to break the spawn hold, either by front-loaded damage compositions and walking them down with the threat and pressure of a Storm Moon Knight Punisher composition, or we get to see token resistance on the front line to just be a smokescreen and disguise the movements of dive characters on the sidelines.
Gonna have to see how this pick and ban phase irons out, as is it going to be another target strategist ban line? Thinking with energy and how we've highlighted this player too, usually when it comes to a 3-3 and they start things off on the defense, they come out with the Magneto or even the Moon Knight.
It's not an Emma. It is going to be a Mantis first ban, which means do Na'Vi go, similar to the way that we saw Thieves actually, with a save on what they think is their priority target, and it will not be the Psylocke, it will be the Captain America, because they're one map up in it being a best of 5 series. Na'Vi get the opportunity to sort of feel out how averse FlyQuest are to banning some of these duelist role setups for Jerky.
Sometimes we even have seen time and time again the Doctor Strange bans on this map too, because it prevents the recontention with the portal. But I don't think it's going to happen here, because it could be very risky too, as we get to see the protect onto the Mantis. I like this. You get the damage boost on top of the speed boost, and it is the Loki ban to prevent the team up of the big AoE healing of the Mantis and Loki.
Yeah, regeneration domain is already a broken cooldown enough as it is. You do not need to be letting for the damage boost potential as well. As Na'Vi remove the Invisible Woman, FlyQuest are going to be removing the Rocket Raccoon, so no BRB to be able to bring some of these players back in either a double strategist lineup or a triple strategist composition, as FlyQuest are going to be saving the Luna because yet again they see the ban line format. Na'Vi are targeting out strategists, and FlyQuest do not want to be stuck with 2 off strategists when they have something like a Mantis and an Ultron available.
And it works so well on Midtown. You mentioned Ultron because you have more of that verticality, as the last protect is the Psylocke. Remember, FlyQuest not only take us over to Midtown, but they also choose what side they want to start on. And in defense, you also have to take care of the 3-3 comp that you may want to rock out with. And if you're getting focused when it comes to the strategist, that puts a dent to some of your plans.
Speaking of plans, the scuppering of the Adam Warlock has begun for both of these two teams. FlyQuest using that last ban slot because Na'Vi, they targeted the Loki, but these bans are not universal. They are one-sided, which means that they would have had access to both the Loki and the Adam to complete that really frustrating stall strategy of just Karmic Revival, God of Mischief, copy into Karmic Revival, so that even if you don't win the fight on first, you manage to absolutely sink your opponent's chance of going the full distance. As Na'Vi, I'm sure we're going to be seeing it in a moment. Jerky likely going to be onto the Psylocke. I am very, very worried currently about the composition that FlyQuest are showing to us, because as I said, They got the Mantis through, which means that they can play a triple strategist line. They're going with an Ultron, which is known as being directly countered by Psylocke, to the point that in 4.0 we actually even saw Psylocke being banned by some teams if they wanted to run the Ultron, and that was before she was buffed. And Zealous is going to be on the rocket, and Psylocke is going to be able to flank all the way around and catch the BRB Station 2.
Oh, my favorite, everybody, is listening to Moxie getting upset when she sees this Ultron into a Psylocke matchup. It is the absolute best, and it's exactly what you were talking about, right? Because we see a lot of these counter picks as Jerky, already taking some damage, but you see Energy taking control over the high ground as, once again, FlyQuest being on this defense, trying to get the disruption, but also the damage done to boost into that Galactic Legend.
So one of the benefits of the Ultron against the Psylocke, or against the dive rather, is that he is undiveable. And starting off on the defense, Vision does at least have so much distance between himself and the Psylocke. He's currently not being pressured by the one-tap potential, which does mean that FlyQuest are building Rage of Ultron and allowing the triple strategist line to be able to stabilize with there's a staple on this Magneto. Moving on forward has to deal though with the rushdown potential of Rajaro. The Carbon Crush will be shielded off, and FlyQuest are able to stabilize. Jerky still not able to find a way through, but look at what he's doing. He's not diving, he's building, he's been farming the dance of the butterfly. Soul Resurgence comes on through from FlyQuest, but that means that Na'Vi get to come on through with an uncontested invisible boundary.
Oh, Fate holding back a little bit with this invisible boundary, kind of putting it behind the payload. FlyQuest still holding forward, and now with the Galactic Legend, it forces out level 1 Crook to have the Fate of both worlds energy flying all around them. Get the fly swatter as Naga tries to retaliate. Meteor M! It comes crashing down with the LeBron at the Fate. He cannot get away, but look right behind you, Spark Chief, noticing where that pesky Star-Lord is going to be backing away, because Na'Vi, it's back to the drawing board after losing out on Rajaro.
We might need to rename the meatball into the mosquito net, as Vez just sorts out of the sky Na'Vi's Fate. Vision still as well holding on to this Rage of Ultron. CC immunity will also have the aerial dynamics to stay above the Feast of the Abyss's incoming damage, but that's where the anti-heal starts to come on through. And there is Rage of Ultron, but it's not going to be able to save the players from all of that incoming damage. Does mean, though, that they've kept energy alive on the Star-Lord to take out Jerky, who was the next cycle of aggression from Na'Vi's end. And this Ultron pick is working out for FlyQuest.
It was big, too, because it was boosting into the dance of butterflies, but you cannot ignore who is harassing your backline. Again, look at Rajaro, that's Psionic Seduction almost online, but I'm also looking at these strategist ultimates, too. They used up the Rage of Ultron earlier as a Psionic Seduction comes out next. Jerky, Dance of the Butterflies, as he gets put to sleep, thanks to Cooper being on that Mantis, the insurance policy that they needed, but they have to recontest as Spark Chief is alone up here in the front.
They look to do so with Cosmic Ion Amplifier, but level 1 Crook pops Fate of both worlds, and only one of his healing strategists has a health bar attached to their ultimate. FlyQuest now relying on the Galactic Legend to clear the board, but Vez has already fallen. Invisible boundary slows everybody down into the Dance of Butterflies, stacked with the Galactic Legend, because this is about to be overtime. If Na'Vi aren't careful, they need to finish out the fight now before FlyQuest can stall for a portal play, and we go into second.
Oh no, run as fast as you can if the Mantis can get back to the team, and she does get away here. You see the double jump too, just getting right back on top of the payload. But after clearing out this point, no BRB to help them out from Zelos after Cooper had gone down first, and that was the win con here for Na'Vi to be able to get that first checkpoint.
I'm really worried about this Ultron, Vicky. Not only are you up against the Psylocke, you're up against the Star-Lord too. Rage of Ultron at least has been generated, so FlyQuest, if they feel pressured, might use it to break out of Subway Tunnel. As Na'Vi just continue applying the pressure, there it is. Bullock onto Vision, sending him aggressively into Na'Vi's back line. Pushed on forward with Cooper's Soul Resurgence, and the Ultron might not heal as much as he did, but he still does the same amount of damage. FlyQuest button the hatches, stall out the momentum from Na'Vi, and are now in a good position with a flying composition to be able to scout and mark Na'Vi's rotations. But do they have the read on Jerky's position? Oh my goodness.
No way.
The Psylocke gets to use the crates. He's a hide-and-seek master.
Dude, he knows. Smart Chief is like, where is he? I'm looking for... Oh, he heard him go invisible. They called him out. A few seconds of invisibility before backing away. And that goes hand in hand with seeing double with the Emma Frost team up as energy. He's found Trust Me, but Jerky's going to continuously be a problem to the backline of FlyQuest, especially forcing out Zelos and that BRB.
The problem for them is that Jerky doesn't have LOS until now to receive the Idol Aura. Flanks onto the left side, gets it from level 1 Corp. Level 1 Corp with the fate of both worlds too. Trying to keep the teams the same through Energy's Galactic Legend, but he still finds the pick through. But look at what Jerky's doing. They saw the FlyQuest was split and they punished the spread.
Give Jerky a pay raise. It's insane. Not even with the invisible boundary. You don't even need it. Look how low he is, and he's still holding forward. He's getting enabled as Trust Me hooks him out. He goes down, but Jerky finds another.
Oh my goodness, that Psylocke was just able to find the elimination through the activation time frame of the Soul Resurgence. Vision does have Rage of Ultron, but he's not currently in the fight to use it. It falls instead of FlyQuest, stalling it out long enough for him to come back into play. Vez with the Meteor and finds the connection onto Fate. No invisible boundary, but no Meteor M to absorb the Galactic Legend damage.
And now with Naga flying around here with that Galactic Legend, you have to look at Smart Chief trying to look for the interruption too. Jerky finds Zelos next, who has not been able to set up with these BRBs as well, as Jerky gets shut down. Vision knows what he has to do. It's a trade up on both sides as Navi, they're down in numbers. FlyQuest are looking to wake up.
Vision, the perfect timing. If he'd used the Rage of Ultron any moment earlier, he would have been taken down by the Galactic Legend, as it just manages to melt through the Ultron self-healing. And it was because of the Vanguards that he was able to hold on to it for so long. FlyQuest now continuing to put the pressure onto Navi. 20 seconds later, invading into that space, making sure that Jerky doesn't have a position, but yet again the two spread out. The numbers are too thin to absorb the damage of Dance of the Butterflies, and Jerky has brought his team back into this fight.
Dance of the Butterflies as Jerky's always in the driver's seat. Energy can't do anything alone, and with overtime taken away, Navi are looking to get this next checkpoint.
Portal, can they get the portal off in time, or will Navi pick up second before it goes through? Yes, they will. FlyQuest didn't have a player ready to be able to go onto the objective and hold the timer for that portal to come on out. Navi get to move into third, but FlyQuest, yet again, with this flying composition, if they win one fight, because they have so much cover through the outside of this building, should be able to find the shutdown. But for Navi, it's all about the Kraken impact. No Strategist ultimate ready to be able to stave it off. Cooper with the Soul Resurgence just isn't going to do the healing required.
And with Vez getting taken down, Crook sets Navi up to control this space. They're looking at Energy. He's got the Galactic Legend, but with the fate of both worlds used up, Energy's waiting for the very tail end of that ultimate.
Galactic Legend, but invisible boundary comes on through from Fate. The Winter Soldier's outside it though, and that was the one pick that FlyQuest needed. Vision has the Rage of Ultron, uses it after the Feast of the Abyss damage comes on through, trying to heal his back line. The peel is there, but it's insufficient. The anti-heal still applied, and it's Navi with the Feast of the Abyss continuing to move the payload forward.
Oh nah, this Venom's a whole problem. This is crazy. Seeing what Trust Me is doing onto the backline of FlyQuest. Look at Naga, Kraken, Impact, Online, Reset Potential together with Jerky 2.
Vez might be able to shut this down. The Bucky has to use the projectiles, but no, FlyQuest has to use the meteor to buy the space back in. That Kraken Impact should be staved off though by the fate of both worlds if they even allow it to come through in the first place. Heaven's Retribution peeled off by Dance of the Butterflies, and FlyQuest are losing player after player.
Too much damage output for them to deal with as Navi, they're walking the dog with the payload. Jerky, he finds Vision next. That destroys the opportunity to build into the Rage of Ultron. As Zelos, they force the overtime, the recontention with the portal from Navi.
Kraken Impact, Feast of the Abyss at the same time, just after Zelos' ultimate has ended. Cooper still supplying sustainability for FlyQuest. Is it going to be long enough? Vision 5% away from having Rage of Ultron online. Will be able to find the damage and the healing. Invisible boundary bolts for Na'Vi. They're losing their players though, and that should be FlyQuest turning the tide. They just have to deal with this Eye of Agamotto.
That invisible boundary was just a little too short. Eye of Agamotto, it does find Zealous, but a nice safety from Vez to get the bubble, protecting them and preventing Na'Vi from getting to the finish line.
FlyQuest finding the turnaround, preventing the full push from coming on through. The Mantis Ultron, when it works, it works. When you're not in control of the space and you're up against the Solid and the Psylocke, there are points where it really doesn't. But that Rage of Ultron, being able to have it build up, well, not as fast as it was before, but having the verticality, being undivable by the Venom, you only really have to worry about the Psylocke in those later stages of the fight, especially when we saw the swap over to the Winter Soldier.
And that's why, together with the Mantis, you get the damage boost, right? And then you get to reposition yourself around those rooftops. You get to get a lot more aggressive. And even when you get the Ultron's Rage, you could control the space. It depends on the situation if you want to try to get a reset or even try to hold up and control that space that you need.
It works on the defense.
Yeah.
It's not going to have the same level of impact on the attack unless you just have continuous momentum. Playing into this first fight is going to be absolutely nightmarish if Vision decides to hold on to this pick, because Jerky is already going to be established. He's going to be already in that same level of space. So too is the Winter Soldier already going to be within distance to put the pressure when the Ultron decides to look for those angles, if they opt for it.
Can we talk about the difference, by the way? I know it's split up healing, but Crook is always so crazy. One of the best strategists that we have within Marvel Rivals Ignite, but we are rolling out as Na'Vi now on the defense. Look at this composition. Jerky is still on the sideline.
Energy is getting everything at the moment. It's a battle of the pockets. Psylocke versus Star-Lord, who's going to be able to find more value? Energy can try and follow up, but the question is on what? Sparkshift on the Captain America is the answer, but he just can't get close enough. The pure potential of the Winter Soldier to deal with these flyers, the tainted voltage connections are so brutal.
Oh my. Bucky Barnes landing 2. First Energy next onto Vez. Energies has had enough. Now swapping over to the Solid, we get to see the 1v1 matchup that we were expecting, Moxie.
But only one of them has the Emma. Rajaro gives Jerky the lead in terms of that department, but Cooper on the Mantis gives Energy the lead in regards to the damage boost potential.
No, Vez has that Emma, and it's not banned against them. We're gonna have to see, but at least with the bubble, you can protect your backline against the threat that is Jerky and Trust Me, as Trust Me looking to fly in a beautiful sleep, as we see from the Mantis of the hands of Cooper. But look at Crook and look at Fate. They have their ultimates, and they can enable Jerky, who goes in with a Dance of the Butterfly.
Dance of the Butterfly, Soul Resurgence from Cooper. The body stack is good, and they are going to lose a player on the trade. Fate goes down, no invisible boundary, which means no way of shutting down the Rage of Ultron. A sacrifice is required. Na'Vi turn their attention to deal with the Ultron, and FlyQuest sweep elsewhere.
You're seeing double here. It was 2 Dance of the Butterfly side by side as FlyQuest. They paved their path, they build up the space, and you can already see Sparkshift holding up. But when Na'Vi recontests here, Moxie, they still have the invisible boundary. Rajaro with the Sound of Seduction, and Trust Me with the anti-heal from the Feast of the Abyss.
They have to be so concerned about Rajaro opening that space, and Trust Me catching the disengagement with the Feast of the Abyss. There's the Sonic Seduction trying to force FlyQuest back. There's the Force Physics grabbing them forcefully back, and Vez falls. Level 1 Crook finds the elimination. Feast of the Abyss is surely going to be coming on through the moment Fate on both horse ends.
Vez cannot catch a break, and with Cooper going down next, Fate, he's had the invisible boundary, and again, as you hear in your nightmares, Naga was looking to get these resets, but they forced back FlyQuest. The moment that they lost Vez, they knew that that was going to be Na'Vi stopping him before that first checkpoint.
Look how pushed up as well they are. They're really going to pressure FlyQuest and trying to burn one of these ultimates before they can get to the objective, or cost them time. Dance of the Butterflies finds the connection on the isolated backline, and blink and you'll miss it. FlyQuest are sent packing before they get an opportunity to react.
And Energy just witnessed a crime. There was nothing Energy could have done right there. Just literally looking at Trust Me and Jerky having their way up on that high ground as FlyQuest back to the drawing board. They're looking to recontest.
I mean, it's a lose-lose situation. If you preemptively pop the Freedom Charge, everyone from Na'Vi are just going to hold off on investing their ultimates until it's done. At least FlyQuest do have the ultimates now to be able to use. Speaking of which, Dance of the Butterflies comes on through, but it's healed. Level 1 Quirk with the sustainability fate of both worlds. Vez might be able to shut it down with the Meteor and Connection. Finds the pick onto the Lunar Snow, and that now impacts the rest of the team's sustainability.
That was the win con. That's what he needed to do, and it was great communication from FlyQuest. You saw the Invisible Woman shield coming up, and it was destroyed just like that. And he was able to get the Meteor M, and they're able to get this next checkpoint.
No Strange Portal. FlyQuest had already got the objective so close to the checkpoint that Na'Vi don't get the opportunity to stall for a Strange Portal play to come on through. And FlyQuest can continue this momentum moving forward. Rage of Ultron, Soul Resurgence, both of those are strategist ultimates that allow you to take momentum and space against your opponent.
Spark Chief, though, he's held all the way up, trying to take a different angle, and it's because they want to be able to control this choke. It can be so lethal as he dives into the backline together with Vision and the Rage of Ultron. They're forcing them back, and he finds Naga. Huge pick, preventing the Kraken impact. It starts rolling forward. Energy finding Crook, and it is Na'Vi that are sent back.
That's exactly what FlyQuest needed to do too, because Rage of Ultron and Soul Resurgence would not have stood up to the damage potential of Kraken impact. FlyQuest, by doing that, bought the opportunity for Zealous to build the fate of both worlds and sustain against Na'Vi's win condition when we head into this next fight, and they'll be doing so without Jerky because Spark Chief tracked the Psylocke down.
He has to keep doing that because we always know Jerky is in that back line. Crazy to see how Jerky's been positioning himself. But Spark Jape is going to be able to protect his strategist. The Sonic Seduction coming out together with Trust Me and the Feast of the Abyss. Look at Fate with the invisible boundary that enabled that of Naga. And they're going to be able to wait this on the ultimate of Cooper. But Zelos could help them out as Energy moves up. Dance of the Butterflies on both sides.
It's the bait! Dance of the Butterflies forces fate of both worlds. Look at the Winter Soldier, because that Kraken impact needs to be dealt with now. Aggressive plays comes on out from level 1 Crook, letting the team move forward onto the objective. The slam down of the Venom and the Kraken impact commitment, but Vez slows it all down. Meteor M absorbs the Bucky shots, and FlyQuest hold on.
Big here, at least before Naga is still able to find Energy. Oh my gosh, the call out, by the way, from that choke is crazy. Knowing that Energy wanted to move up on top of the hook. He snipes him, the pushback. He can't get away. He gets whiplashed as he's forced back into the farm room gate. And that's with him going down with the Rage of Ultron.
FlyQuest have to lose these players and lose them quickly. Na'Vi chasing for yet more stall potentials. Half a minute left. FlyQuest, they've got the opening, they've got the Rage of Ultron. Do they go the Strange Portal and try and flip these positions?
It could be a risk, though. Once you use that Doctor Strange portal, it's 3-minute cooldown, and with less than 15 seconds on the clock, is this the time to use it? They're looking to move up. They haven't swapped just yet. They want to push in with the Rage of Ultron first.
But this is dangerous. You have to worry about the bottom Kraken impact, but that first pick opens the way immediately. Na'Vi down the Winter Soldier, down the Kraken impact threat to hold FlyQuest off. Rage of Ultron gets bubbled, forces out the invisible boundary. FlyQuest disengage it because it's off of the objective, and they still have room to breathe. Dance of the Butterflies from Energy manages to bypass the CC coming up from Rajaro, and FlyQuest should be able to take second.
Off the triple, overtime activated. They stop Jerky, and they get this next checkpoint as Na'Vi are forced to hold back. And FlyQuest, as the crowd comes alive, they're giving them their energy. But this is what's scary now, Moxie. Once you force yourself into overtime, guess what? Now you still have only a minute and less than 20 seconds on the clock.
What's really scary as well is that they had to burn both the Ultron and the Mantis ultimate together. Now it's just fate of both worlds, which means that Na'Vi, there's so many more fights until we hit that checkpoint. They can use the Psylocke, they can use the Bucky, either of which to force out Zealous' fate of both worlds and find the value of the one that wasn't burned. Dance of the Butterflies, Feast of the Abyss, they're trying to find the pick even through the fate of both worlds.
They forced it out. They force it out together at the very least here. They can't get the fall of the protection that we're seeing onto the backline with Vision getting called out by Rajaro. They force them back, and with the Diamond Form and the Choke Slam, it also forces the bubble out.
Fez manages to find a big pick on to Trust Me. FlyQuest off at the back of that. Think that this is winnable. They full send it. What a freeze from level 1 Crook. Na'Vi disengaging it. They've still got the distance to back on off. The Captain America putting the pressure on the back line so the FlyQuest can keep on moving on that objective. But we still have to look out for the Kraken impact. There's no strategist ultimate to survive it. It's all up to Vez to shut it down. Down to the butterflies comes on through. Forces level with Crook's ultimate. But Na'Vi are still holding on to the Kraken impact. And it's truly going to be impactful when overtime hits.
Got less than 5 seconds now on the clock. You have to stay here with Jerky getting that pick onto Vision. No Rage of Ultron. Cooper has Vez! The Meteor M! It shuts down Naga. Leave my backline alone. And now they cannot get off the point.
Na'Vi have to just stall out this objective control for as long as they can to get this coming on through. They're so close to defender spawn. Vision with the Rage of Ultron forced into using it. Beast of the Abyss comes on through from Trust Me. Doesn't find the pick. Zealous is already down. No Fate of both wants to cycle after the Ultron's ultimate is done. And FlyQuest are missing sustainability. They're missing numbers. Na'Vi are shutting them down. It's going to be a strange portal that allows us to come back on through. Fate of both wolves manages to make it onto the card, and FlyQuest are thrown a lifeline.
This is what they saved the portal for. The 3-minute cooldown. But look at Jerky. He's got the Dance of the Butterflies ready to go as he can try to find FlyQuest. He uses it right on top of the portal. Both teams, both Dance of the Butterflies. They are having a waltz, but it is Jerky who dances on top as Na'Vi put themselves at match point.
A historic Midtown, one that will go down for the ages as Na'Vi shut out FlyQuest on third defense. And we go into match point in our best of 5. FlyQuest have to find the turnaround, have to adapt against this ban structure. They thought that the Ultron might be the answer alongside the Mantis, but it was such a risk against the Psylocke and the Starlord still being left open.
A 55-second overtime fight at the very end. Vez woke up at the very end together with energy here. 15 final hits for both of these players, but then you look on the other side, guess what? Jerky went 44 and 10. He has 28 final hits. And this is what happens in the pick and ban phase already too, Moxie. What are you doing when it comes to Zelos? What are you going to do when it comes to your strategist struggling? Cooper, you know, being able to rely on the Mantis is great and all, but also best hero when it comes to Loki. And then Zelos literally going down 12 times, being focused by the Venom and the Psylocke.
I think if we go into our next map and we don't see an instant ban on the Psylocke, it's likely that Na'Vi just decide to shut out that ban potential and save it, because that truly would be the thing that pushes FlyQuest out of the comfort zone. We'll have to see whether or not Desk agree, as they're going to be able to break down all of the action that we've just seen.
Oh, thank you so much, Moxie. I mean, I'm having trouble finding the words that captures the effort, the momentum, and what we saw between both of those teams on that fight. I mean, playing for it all, FlyQuest gave it everything they had on that last point, but Na'Vi has so much clutch in the veins, being able to stand so strong. Roy, what did you see there that Na'Vi did so perfectly?
I mean, they're just so good in the rematches. They sort of take some of the stuff that we saw from Virtus Pro, like from the draft before, making sure that Vision doesn't get the Jeff, that you can sort of try and target as many of those strategists as possible. I think the one good thing for FlyQuest in that last map was those signs of life at the end, where you have to go towards playing the Ultron.
Yeah.
Like, why is it taking that long to see Energy play Psylocke when it looks that sharp? It's those kind of adjustments that even though you've not practiced it, you have to bring it out now because your tournament life is on the line.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I think you remove Jerky Psylocke. I've been saying that for a while. I think that needs to happen. I think it would put them in a worse position. And Energy popping off there on Psylocke showcased that he has it in, you know, the pool. but I don't know, man. I'm not sure what they can do at this point.
I mean, it just seems like history in the making, and Navi setting themselves up to be back-to-back. Let's go, FlyQuest. We hear from the crowd. It's so electric here. The moment was right there, and they're letting it slip. We'll have to see if they're able to, because, Rod, great point. We finally saw what FlyQuest is made of there at the tail end of those fights. I thought if they were coming together, and to your point, hey, listen, Energy has been playing Psylocke since I've been casting the man, and so we know what he can do on the hero, but to answer that as well, the dance of the butterfly at the end there from Jerky, get the 5 both go off cinematically, right?
He just knows how to find those like opportunities, those like things. But FlyQuest, their backline has been hit hard with the like draft stuff being taken out. They're trying to put more protects onto the likes of getting like Lunar Snow, for example, Cloak and Dagger in that first map too. It just feels like for FlyQuest, they're making these right changes, but in comparison to Virtus Pro and Navi, they have a little bit more experience, certainly playing up against each other. It just might be too little too late. I think FlyQuest now has a read on what these teams are trying to do to them, but you have to be able to pull out, like we saw some Jean Grey from Naga before, we saw the Ultron, which got nerfed super hard since Stage 2 into now, and then of course just Energy on that Psylocke. It's just a case of like trying to build that momentum. FlyQuest took us to this map because they managed to full hold Navi in grips last time. Navi are so good at being able to fix some of those issues and come back again stronger, you're not going to strike lightning twice.
Yeah, I mean, the side, when you're looking here at Navi, they're running these duelists that have huge ultimate potential, and then you see over at FlyQuest, they only have really one with the Psylocke at the end there. They have that Ultron to bait out the backline cooldowns, but you have a Kraken Impact coming in at any time that can sweep the team, and you have that Dance of the Butterfly. It's so much pressure. We saw Ultron a few times there trying to make plays towards the backline, forcing on an ult, but it was just missing other times just due to the nature of not being able to move in enough with Ultron, so it didn't get the value that you'd see from a Kraken Impact or a Butterfly every single time.
I mean, honestly, I'm finding it hard to just capture what I want to say to these FlyQuest players, because I know what they can do talent-wise. I know what they've been. They've been the fit. You talk to people across the teams, the players, anyone. FlyQuest was right there with VP. I heard FlyQuest more than VP to be the favorites to win this tournament, and so my heart breaks because you look at it, 3-0 from VP. This isn't what they can do. I know they can do more, and so will they bounce back? Can they bounce back? My answer is yes. We're going to get a 2-1 and go from there, gentlemen. To make that happen, Ship, how do they do that?
I mean, again, I think they need to remove the Psylocke. I think that has been a huge problem for their backline. It has consistently found multiple KOs. And, you know, Bucky, although incredibly strong right now, Psylocke is so hard to patty kick. We talk about patty kicking. Maybe for those who don't know, the strategists look at each other, heal each other, try to survive some of those ultimates. You can stop Kraken Impact with a bubble from Magneto, but you cannot stop the Dance of the Butterfly from sweeping the backline, right?
We also get map choice as well as we go to Convergence and Heart of Heaven. If you want to throw in a curveball, how about the latest map to be added into the game? We've not seen Navi play it. It's a risk because you don't know what your sort of anti-strategy to an extent, what kind of compositions, what they want to kind of do, but it has gone relatively well for you. You have taken a loss on it when you played up against Virtus Pro, I think, before, but it is one of these areas where you need to be a little bit unorthodox, because Navi knows that, okay, yeah, you've picked Heart of Heaven a couple of times, you'll probably want to go there. It's the same with Midtown, right? I think Navi's going to know that you were going to go to that map.
I mean, 100%. We saw these teams again go together in the group stage. I cannot express how elite FlyQuest defense was in the group stage on Midtown. They didn't even move. Navi didn't see any life, and now they were able to go and take that whole map, and so it's like, where do we take them now? And for me, I agree. I think it's tough that you have to try to find a map where you think you can steal that W, and maybe, you know, we'll find that out here shortly. But I want to talk about a little bit of what we are seeing there from Navi and Naga. This man, did you see the hook on the Ultron on Vision? Takes him right to the back, like, come here.
Right, and the first map and the first start of Midtown, we saw him playing Jean Grey. Like, how many people have we seen go into that situation of like, yeah, this character nerfed, it's fine, I'm going to sort of be able to play him to just create a lot of sort of trash damage to help Jerky get those like final eliminations. But as soon as he needs to switch over, there's an Ultron, I'm going to go Star-Lord. Or I'm going to go, in this case, like Bucky, like you mentioned. It feels that he's just so quick at making those like hero adjustments to let Jerky look so good, because everybody else is starting to just adjust to the characters super quickly. Navi know the win conditions from back to front. They know how to play this game, and if a new hero needs to come in, that's what Naga's going to pull out.
Listen, I talked to Trust Me on stage, and what he said to me was, hey, it's not easy play for this team. They scrim a lot, they practice. It's a tough environment because they expect themselves to be the best. And honestly, you can't even see it over here. I'm ready to stand up and get on the desk to just show my tip of the cap of what it takes to get there through the pressure in the lower brackets of what they're doing. And guess what, my friend? We found out our next map. What do you see down there? Right.
Heart of Heaven, which Yeah, it's going to be the first time we've seen Na'Vi on this map. I would imagine that no matter what, it would be a map that we've seen at Best of 7 Grand Final 2. So Na'Vi, they usually very up to speed, right? We sort of mentioned Fate on screen now. He was one of those early proprietors of Jeff when people were like, this is a trash hero. He's no good at the esports level. He was like, I can make it work. And it's one of the reasons why they're the world champions winning the mid-season finals. And it could help them out a lot here if they can get good on the new map added into the game.
Hey, listen, y'all, this is the hope for FlyQuest, the only hope for them to not be eliminated. Atlanta, you've been amazing for FlyQuest out there. If you want to give me your spirits, let's hear it from you right now, as we will be getting ready for this draft. It will be up for grabs here now as Na'Vi looks to lock in, and again, just that leadership behind Trust Me is what we continue to see. Let's see how they find out what they can do to shut down what has been relentless from Na'Vi.
I will say the major thing that's really hurt FlyQuest today is those just first bans onto Jeff.
Yeah.
It's just so hard, especially on this map. You know that he's just going to dump them off the back if you're on the defense, which FlyQuest is on first. Yeah, don't give him the Jeff. It's so hard to counter that ultimate in-game. Just don't allow it to be in the game.
Yeah, and I think something we want to touch on again that you had mentioned is when you take this team, when you take Na'Vi down on a map like we saw in Midtown and you hold them early on, that team goes back and studies, and that will never happen again. You need to do something like this where you're coming in on a new map, as we see that lock-in from Venom, which makes so much sense for Trust Me.
Yep, Trust Me gets his symbiote. We have just seen this man stall after stall, point after point. I was talking to Ship yesterday after matches. I'm like, Trust Me, he never dies. It's crazy out here. And again, another hero I like on this map is Rocket Raccoon. He can actually hide very well within the fog of war, if you will, to get up and continue to get those respawn, Chip.
And you're seeing on, Trust Me, when he's on Venom, he's consistently on the point. If you look back, even if you see FlyQuest take home a win in a team fight, Trust Me has
finally happened. All right, so Jerky, what else you're made up out there? What else we're going to see the man play? Right, you watch Jerky a lot. What else does he have access to here?
I mean, he could play quite a lot, just all of the different types of duelists, but Daredevil, potentially, like we've seen some teams play it. It was banned out before from FlyQuest in that first map of Krakoa, so if I'm Jerky, I'm making that adjustment. For now, it seems to be more of the same. That Mantis is going to be one-sided protected from FlyQuest. You don't want that team up with Loki.
Yeah, if you're looking at the last save here into ban, I mean, do they try to get rid of the Atom v Atom? Like, there's a couple ways that they can go about it if you're Fly. Last save for them, listen, I mean, they might go with the Bucky again if you want to go ahead and roll that direction. Naga has been an absolute demon no matter the hero as they go 4, 3, 2, 1, and it is the final lock. It is that Rocket. Yeah. I'm telling you, this is a great hero for this map.
Yeah, and Fate on Rocket. Honestly, there's the whole backline can run Rocket. We'll likely see Fate, but the combination play with that 40% damage boost has been massive throughout this tournament. Rocket is in such a good state right now. If you are able to, or if you lose Mantis, you need to try to ban Rocket as well if you really want to hinder a team, but it pretty much guarantees you will get that lock. Ooh, removing Phoenix, which we have seen Jerky play as well.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, Jerky Naga has done great on Phoenix as well. We saw an Aegis-Sail. They continue to connect those as well. So they are locking in the lineups, folks. Will we get the sweep or the beginning of a reverse sweep starting here at the heart of heaven, the newest map, as we see Angela locked and loaded, and once again these teams are ready. We've got the casters to bring it to you. All the action right here live in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's get this thing going.
Thank you so much, Cozy. Heart of Heaven is where we go for map number 3. And you take a look at the pick and ban phase here, Moxie, and you get to see the Wombo when it comes to the Rocket being banned. They know what they want when it comes to the C on the damage boost.
Yep, that Cosmic Yawn Amplifier is so dangerous in these enclosed positions, and Heart of Heaven, especially when we head into second and third, has so many areas where that Phoenix combined with the 40% amp is just too dangerous to leave on the field. Speaking about that, Phoenix Energy is likely going to be playing that same hero too, as every single time that FlyQuest have moved over to this position, that's exactly what duelist they've decided to put him on. So I like that Na'Vi, just the way we saw Virtus Pro, targeted out the Invis woman to make sure that he has denied the Guardian Shield lifeline.
Take that away and you look at the rollouts that Heart of Heaven provides, hanging out on top of that terracotta rooftop. Energy getting to that position that you were mentioning too, but with Jerky being on the Hela, sure, you have no Phoenix, you have no Psylocke, but with Jerky taking an off angle, this could help enable Trust Me to get the dive.
Yeah, you've got verticality as well with the shift, where you can get yourself onto that rooftop angle and try and contest on the hit scan. Both the Phoenix and the Namor. Rojaro walks away with the first elimination. BRB will be able to bring it back, and Energy is still in his position.
Wow.
But a freeze from level 1 Crook sets up the pick, and FlyQuest don't have the BRB to bring the Phoenix from the ashes. this time.
That means that they go on the Doctor Strange and they'll probably portal to recontest just in case. With Crook getting taken out, it is FlyQuest that come out on top.
I don't think they need the portal. At
Oh, they
this
hold on
point,
to it.
as yet, Na'Vi, they lose too many players. FlyQuest, there was no portal cast. I don't know if it was used in terms of a cooldown, but Energy is actually going to be returning on the Hela, and we have something that's a little bit Season 0 coded in terms of duelist lineup. It's just missing that Punisher or Hawkeye, as Vision is going to make sure that Na'Vi are missing Jerky. Faye with the BRB brings him back, though, and that means that Na'Vi still have the confidence to take the fight. Galactic Legend covered well with the Bulwark. FlyQuest tried to shut it down with the Cosmic Gun Amplifier. Naga is going so low, but he's not falling, and Na'Vi's players on the ground level are sweeping FlyQuest numbers.
Biggest difference is that Cooper had gone down first from the very beginning of that fight, and when you're dealing with Crook, who has stayed alive, it enables Naga to control this point, as now they're already looking to get this payload moving. The turtle, as now the recontention from FlyQuest.
No portal.
No portal.
Coming on through from FlyQuest, so there is still a healthy amount of time on the bank for Na'Vi as they push into second. Energy off of the Hela over to the Winter Soldier. Knows that Na'Vi are going to be trying to play aggressive, continue applying the pressure on the defense to not allow them to stabilize and get yet more distance covered.
Be a strat difference here as Trustme with the Freedom Charge. He rallies the Avengers to hold up, and look at the way that Na'Vi rotate through these ultimates, because you also have Cooper Spark Chief, who is looking to get everybody grouped together. As Rajaro, he's found energy. The BRB brings him right back. Cooper keeps him alive. The Bane of both worlds, as the whale comes crashing down together with the boost, allows him to get the follow. But again, it's the BRB, but this time from Na'Vi.
Meteor M from Vez used defensively against the Goddess of Death. Doesn't find an elimination, but buys FlyQuest the opportunity to turn the tide. Na'Vi, though, combine Meteor M, Cosmic Yawn Amplifier. So much damage done. Requires less time to fully charge up for the pick potential, too, so FlyQuest don't get the opportunity to overload it. And now Na'Vi continue the momentum as FlyQuest give up Kraken Impact Charge to swap energy over to the Psylocke.
Even in the second segment, when you're playing so close together, you have the walls next to you, they don't want to waste any time like they did in our previous series when we saw FlyQuest play in Heart of Heaven. Now look at energy already onto the Psylocke, but it is Naga who has the Galactic Legend, and there is no strategist ultimates from FlyQuest to help them out in this equation.
The Psylocke is go big or go home, and FlyQuest are in danger of doing just that if it does not work out for them. Through the clouds, energy moves, Galactic Legend directly on top of FlyQuest's players. No space to disengage it, and Na'Vi find the pick. First off to Zealous, no more Rocket BRB, which means that all of the numbers are just going to continue falling lower and lower as Na'Vi continue moving forward and forward.
It's a checkmate from the very beginning of the pick and ban. When you don't have a lot of strategists to work with, the strategists from FlyQuest, they're struggling a lot. They didn't have those ultimates to deal with the Galactic Legend, and guess what? Now Na'Vi, they get the second checkpoint.
They do have a couple of split players, though. The Hela wanting to play the off angle rather than with the core stack does mean that Down to the Butterflies has pick potential. But Na'Vi have so much time plus the Freedom Charge to be able to sustain through it. FlyQuest have to make a move now. What's going to be the go sign? There's the Dance of the Butterflies. Freedom Charge not enough to keep level 1 Crook up, but at the end of the Psylocke ultimate, Rajaro is able to catch it with the Mag Cannon, and he has fallen. FlyQuest have to rely on Fate of both worlds instead.
Rajar's been popping off, and even with Spark Chief being able to find Jerky, it is the BRB again. The Rocket having so much potential here on this map, and together with the Sia, Rajaro, he does it again, while Jerky, he gets 2 more, and it's a mop here onto FlyQuest as Na'Vi are clearing another team fight.
FlyQuest are forced to hold on to Meteor M2. They know that Jerky has the Goddess of Death. They know as well that level 1 Crook, the fate of both worlds. They need the one-shot potential to try to lock one of those ultimates down. Freedom Charge should be able to pave their way onto point, but if it comes through preemptively, Na'Vi can just disengage and play the angles that afford the Hela for those pick potentials. Look at Jerky on the sideline too. FlyQuest, if they want to contest this objective, go directly past the Hela.
It's giving us Psylocke vibes here with the way that Jerky's taking a nice off angle, but it's to split the attention away from FlyQuest to enable Na'Vi to hold up. Look at the follow-up, by the way, between Trust Me and the Captain America as Naga, the Galactic Legend, over to the high ground.
The overlap! Meteor M absorbs it, but at the same time, Freedom Charge is burned, and now they don't have anything in the pocket for Goddess of need to find the pick and shut down onto the Hella, but the wrong Hella has fallen.
Count the freezes from Crook as Jerky takes to the skies. No BRB as Energy gets the retaliation onto Jerky. But look at the space that Na'Vi have built up as they get to the next choke, and Vision's forced to back away.
They're going to have Meteor Fade the Cosmic Yawn Amplifier too. It's fresh into the fight, so Vision will have the blessing of the deep to try to interact with the both of it. Cosmic Yawn Amplifier comes on through. Everyone from Na'Vi getting the damage boost potential. FlyQuest have to send players onto the objective, otherwise the round finishes. They have no choice but to go directly into the damage, past the Vanguards, past the Starlord. Na'Vi are not allowing FlyQuest any opportunity to turn it, and they will complete the full push with what a time bank on the clock.
Everything on the table to make their way into the grand finals, and what separates Na'Vi from making it there is one more round. What a performance so far as FlyQuest. They keep trying these different strategies, Moxie. They keep trying to go for these different team-ups. If it's not the Namor and Hala, they swap off. Then they go right back over again. But even between the Sia follow-ups and the positioning too of the Sia alone behind that one wall at the very end of that checkpoint, I mean, you can't even get through the other side of the choke.
I mean, Jerky as well just kept them permanently on the toes with the Hella pick. I think that was one of the problems for FlyQuest. Moving over to Heart of Heaven, it's a play that they've done before when their back is against the wall. Energy going over to the Phoenix is expected now as well. So Na'Vi get to come in with a full win condition. When they go for the strategist sweep, they remove the invis, which then impacts the resources that the Phoenix has available to.
Hello? 24-0?
Yep, 24-0.
8 final hits? Naga, what did you eat for breakfast this morning? Rajaro 18-1. Rajaro too, right? Lighting up the feed. 10 final hits. As this is the last chance opportunity for FlyQuest. Again, the difference between second and third place, 40,000 USD.
FlyQuest looks stronger as well on their defenses historically on this map. Now they have to play the attack. They're not even going to be opening up with the Strange Portal, which is what they usually do, and then swap over to the Venom from Spark Chief to be able to meet them with the back angle secured for that Hella, but that means that it's predictable. Na'Vi, though, punish. If you don't use the Strange Portal, you have to go through the gauntlet that is the poke set up on this Hella angle, and they've already been able to find the pick. Trust me, just taking away all of the space.
And it forces the BRB to be used already off the beginning here, as trust me, he dives in and dives right back to help his strategist, because you can see Spark Chief also trying to take a different off angle. It's a nice fight sky here, up and above. The skies are congested, and Spark Chief finds Jerky, but again, it's the BRB to bring him right back.
But that means that the Hella is out of the position that FlyQuest have to worry about. There is a window for them to get to be a little bit more aggressive. So now it falls to the Starlord to mark the Vanguards out and allow Na'Vi to stabilize, getting Jerky into a better and more punishing position. The AoE damage, the force onto Vision, means that he's not there to try and keep Jerky in check, but you know who is? Vez, the hero that FlyQuest needed when the hour was at its darkest. FlyQuest finally feet on the objective. Na'Vi, though, they try and turn it with a Strange Portal play.
Time to wake up, but here comes Naga. It's going to be the recontest. They stopped them here, but they too late. A pixel too late. The turtle starts moving up, and now that portal all for nothing.
And Na'Vi, they had to throw in the towel. They could not go for the commitment of the fight, because when you move into second, it's more important, especially on a Helicon position, to establish your angle before the fight begins, other than risking getting staggered on that fight on first. FlyQuest getting to move on forward though. Vision with the poke angle, trying to shut down the Starlord. Trust me, making sure that Na'Vi get to play the way they want to, aggressively running towards this Hella.
The mirror to get the counter pick here. Well, trust me, rallies everybody together with the freedom charge. Fate with the Sia, a freeze this time onto Rajaro as Spark Chief tries to find Jerky. And with no BRB, they don't bring him back. Level 1 Crook can keep this fight going. He's got the fate of both worlds as we have a dance-off between both sides with Cooper.
Ooh, the Minion doesn't find the shutdown, and that means that it's not there to stop the Galactic Legend the way that Rajaro is to absorb energies. Energy is still able to find level 1 Crook though. He's brought back by the Rocket BRB, the Soul Drainer, trying to put a stop to the Starlord, but Energy's movement is good. He manages to make it out.
Energy trying to do everything between the Galactic Legend to shut down that Meteor M originally, with Jerky getting taken out earlier too. And Vision with the reset, the Goddess of Death takes to the skies, and it's looking to take some space.
Goddess of Death looking for these players. Na'Vi looking to still keep Trust Me on that objective, making sure that FlyQuest don't get free push, making sure that they get to set up for another fight on second where the Hela is going to be in control of those angles, and that is why FlyQuest are already posted so far forward.
Nice little cheeky angle for a reset in case the Star-Lord needs to go back together with a team up of the Rocket. Look at Zealous with that Sia, but same thing for Fates, as now you see Energy taking a different angle here. Very similar, but you have to pinpoint where Jerky is, who also has a reset.
Goddess of Death is up in the hands of Jerky, but Energy isn't giving him the space to try and keep a track of Vision right now. Both the Captain America and the Star-Lord forcing the Hela's reposition, and she's got to burn the Goddess of Death, but the angle just means that FlyQuest can disengage it and wait it out without burning the ultimates.
Huge. That was so worth there. Can't get the reset and doesn't get the space with that angle specifically, while Jerky gets taken down at the hands of Spark Chief. They pinpointed who the problem is.
Massive play as well. That Goddess of Death does not give you a health reset the way Ensong Inferno does, so FlyQuest are able to time the Hela ultimate out and still find the elimination. Na'Vi down one of their duelists, relying on the Galactic Legend. Freedom Charge from Spark Chief trying to heal FlyQuest through it, as Na'Vi want to hold on long enough for Jerky to come back with the Daredevil.
The Daredevil's out, and now with FlyQuest taking the skies, Energy, Galactic Legend, Jerky, he's found Cooper, no sustainability. There's only so much only Energy can do, but at least they have time. 2 minutes, less than 50 seconds on the clock.
But the Daredevil is going to give Na'Vi all of the information about where FlyQuest are positioning. Crucially as well, all of the information about where Vision on this Hela is going to be. If they want to just walk her down, make her use Goddess of Death in a bad position, the way FlyQuest did against Jerky, they absolutely can. As Jerky keeps the pressure up onto Spark Chief to make sure that the Captain America does not pressure his backline.
See where Jerky's going to be able to position himself with Vision having the reset too with the Goddess of Death. The backline may need some help here as Na'Vi move up. Jerky trying to hold them back together with Naga up in the skies. It's the Sia follow-up here as they try to control the turtle together. And it's also going to be the damage boost, forcing FlyQuest back. But Jerky, he takes him to court with the lawyer, Matt Murdock, coming in, following up with Trust Me to find Cooper and Energy.
That Cosmic Yawn Amplifier, the damage with the 40% boost, and then to top it all off, the late pick onto Vez. FlyQuest have one good clean fight left before we go in to panic portal territory.
Zelos having that Sia and looking to see where he's going to put his BRBs even bigger. Energy, by the way, over onto the Bucky.
Fuck the Groot.
Trying to get the follow-up. It's the bread and butter as he lets the devil out. Jerky, but it's Energy finding Crook, but he's got the BRB. This is why the Rocket is so important.
The Wombo combo though, Spark moved over to the Groot, so close to strangling Prison. Na'Vi burn fate of both worlds now. They need to finish off the fight. They need to stop the strangling Prison, connecting into the Kraken impact. FlyQuest have the Wombo combos. The objective is so close to the checkpoint. They should have second and a refresh on the time to head into third.
Ooh, they're getting it here. Vision finding Fate. They're right there as they try to clear the next corner, but that was huge. Yes, the Meteor M was forced out, but that also prevented Naga from holding up with the Galactic Legend.
Also, FlyQuest did not have to burn the Wombo combo of Strangling Prison and Kraken Impact, so they've got snowball potential headed into this next fight. It's all about Rojaro. The Meteor M can absorb both. The Strangling Prison, the Goddess of Death. Does Vision use his early to try to force that Meteor M out so Spark Chief and Energy's ultimates find more value?
A tail duel this time, looking at Spark Chief here on the group. Strangling Prison still. Freedom Charge. They have to fight Rojaro. He pulls up the walls, even with that freeze behind him from level 1 Crook. As the freeze gets retaliated now, this time onto Trust Me to delay that Freedom Charge. Goddess of Death, the reset from Vision, and he finds a 3K with a BRB to bring Crook back, but you won't have your teammates to help you out.
Na'Vi trying to get this exit trade onto Energy. They know that the Bucky still has that Kraken impact, which could come into play massively in this next engagement, especially when Zealous amps it up with the Cosmic Yawn Amplifier. It all comes down to this last fight. It needs to be a clean sweep because Na'Vi's respawn is right there. 40 seconds left. Can the Cosmic Yawn Amplifier wave goodbye to Na'Vi, or do we wave goodbye to FlyQuest in this tournament?
Depends happens if level 1 Crook stays alive for the fate of both worlds to help them out. Here's a Sia, look behind you. Rajar gets taken out. This is the opportunity. They have the number advantage as a reset comes in the 1v1.
Vision wins the 1v1, repositioning around the bubble with the shift, manages to shut the Nemo down, and energy is popping off. Baby's up by the fate of both wolves, the crowd goes wild. FlyQuest should go into the overtime half.
The crowd gives them the energy. With Vision finding Majaro, it's just a matter of time as the star comes out, and they do it. FlyQuest, they take it to the finish line. We keep this going.
Oh my goodness. FlyQuest, they asked on the stage, cheer for us. And the crowd are giving them the energy. The Kraken impact balls. Vision with probably the most impactful 1v1. Like the confidence to see that Nemo bubble reset. And then go behind him, changing the angle. And you can see FlyQuest players. They're so happy that they managed to get that full push.
But this is so stressful. Imagine being FlyQuest right now. They need your support from the crowd. Atlanta, they need to hear you. This is their last chance.
It all comes down to this. 1 minute on the clock for FlyQuest. 2.5 minutes for Na'Vi. FlyQuest, we have to say it realistically. If they want to continue in this tournament, they need to pick up first. But so many times on Heart of Heaven on the attack, we see it go to overtime. We see it being full held. This first play needs to be perfect. They need to find the first pick. They cannot afford to have that BRB used before Na'Vi, because Na'Vi in overtime, they'll wait, they'll hold the portal. They know in an overtime fight, you only need to win once.
They have to call it out. The gates have opened. We're rolling out. FlyQuest on the attack.